Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. I am excited to be looking at Hot Toys Star Wars Imperial Praetorian Guard. This is one of my most anticipated figures. When I first saw them in the Mandalorian, and then when they announced the figure, I said, wow, that'd be a great addition to my Galactic Empire collection. I know when we first saw them, it was after the time of the Empire, but however, the name Imperial makes me think they date back to the time of the Emperor. And also, it's my collection, my canon, so there you have it. So let's open up and see what we've got. Insert showing how we saw them when they first appeared in the Mandalorian. I will know, because I have already peeked at the figure, that their skirts do not drag on the floor like they're showing here. So right off the bat, on the top clamshell, we have two gripping hands, one for each side, and two gesturing hands. And then these little things have to do with one of the weapons I'll get to in a minute. And additional wrist pegs. You know, so far I've been fortunate. I've never had to use their additional wrist pegs. So let's get... Let's see, he does not come with much. He's got that sword-like weapon. He's got this blade with a really long handle that has some really nice detailing on it. In here. And then he's got this other blade, which is very similar to that one. However, at the end, he's got another stabby stab blade. And this one comes apart. That piece comes out, and then these two things, little caps, go to cover up the holes on each end. Another YouTuber, if I remember correctly, they broke theirs. I don't know if it was taking it apart or putting it together, so you got to be careful with this. Did we ever see them fight with the blades separated? I don't remember. I'll have to go back and look. So there are their weapons. And then here is the figure with lots of protective stuff on them. At least it's not wrapped too tight. And there he is. And he's got two resting hands already. See what he looks like under his skirt. Ratcheted joints. You can't hear it, but his elbow is ratcheted. I don't know if that really makes a big difference, but a lot of people swear by it. I have not noticed that big of a difference, honestly, with figures. So, head moves all around. So, let's get rid of this stuff and take another look at him. Thought it'd be interesting to compare him to the Emperor's Royal Guard, since there are some similarities, mainly in the coloring. The red fabric used for the Royal Guard's robe is the same fabric used for the skirt on the Praetorian, and then the purple fabric used for his outfit underneath is the same purple fabric used for this guy's clothing under his armor. Of course, the big difference is this guy has, his only armor is his helmet, whereas he's got upper body armor and on his arms and on his shin. This guy's helmet does not move. I always thought, even though according to lore, the royal guards are very highly trained and deadly bodyguards, that this uniform is mainly ceremonial. He can't move his head, which limits his abilities, and then his robe only has one sleeve opening, so this arm is encumbered. Although if you look at the prequel movies and Rogue One and the Mandalorian, when they show him, they've corrected that defect and he's got a sleeve opening on both sides. This guy, obviously his arms are unencumbered. His head moves, and his skirt is in 4 separate panels, sides, front, and back, so his legs are unencumbered by him. So there you have it, the two compared. The red on this figure looks a little bit deeper than this guy's helmet. However, when I'm across the room, they look identical. Also, this fabric has a sheen to it, so depending upon how the light hits it, it kind of changes how it appears. But like I said, across the room, both the armor parts and the robes, they look identical. So now let's take a look at him with his weapons. So here's the figure wielding his sword. Show you a view in the back too. There's a little bit of detailing on his armor on the back. The hilt was pretty easy getting it in his hand. It is a very snug fit, but it was still fairly easy. The really hard part was same problem I have with all the troopers with this loose forearm armor, is just, you know, hard getting a firm grip of the arm that you need when you're shoving the hand onto the wrist peg. The other thing that gave me some apprehension is that his sword, it's basically a thin wire running through all these pieces, and I was really worried about it either bending or even breaking. So that gave me some apprehension. So let's take a look at him with the other weapons. So here he is carrying the long-handed blade. From the side you get a good idea just how long that weapon is, and that's something to take into account, you know, when you're posing him and placing him with other figures, how much space you'll need. I'm not good at action poses, so I went with this museum pose. This is how he was carrying it when we see him for the first time. It was fairly easy getting the blade on in the hand, but it's a little bit of a loose fit. It's not loose enough it'll fall out, but it's not a very, very tight fit. So, but it does the trick. So there he is with that weapon, and now let's take a look at him with the third weapon. So here's Mr. Praetorian with his double blade weapon. Once again, when you look at him from the side, you can see just how big that weapon is. And again, I posed him in the pose we see when we first see him enter the scene and attack Paz Vizsla. The handle on this blade is a little bit bigger than the other two, so it was a little bit of a chore getting the hands on it, but I did manage to finally get it, and it was probably even more difficult since I've had two hands on it. You can also see I got a fairly tight angle bend on the elbow. I tried to get him as close to the body as I could, since space is at a premium. But there you go. One problem I could see if you get one of these is trying to decide which weapon to pose him with. You've got 3 different weapons, 4 if you count that this one comes apart as two separate ones. But then it also gives you an excuse for reposing your figure if you like reposing them. I'm not too big on that personally, but anyway, there you have them with the double-bladed weapon. So here we are with all 3 of them together. This is probably how I'll have them posed and assembled on the shelf. I just really love these figures. I think they'll look really good on the shelf with the other Empire figures. So really happy to get them. I hope you guys, if you manage to get one or multiples, I hope you like them as well, and hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for stopping by.